Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I wanted to do a lip focused video. I want to start doing a few more like tips and tricks type videos this year, so I thought I would do one on how to perfect a bold lip. So I'll show you kind of like, a slightly deeper shade, how to you kind of perfect it to get a perfect kind of application, but also some tips on how to help it last as well. This can apply to a neutral lip colour as well if that's your preference, but I thought it'd be more interesting to show on a bold lip. So I've picked out a kind of purpley toned colour which I think would suit this time of year anyway. And yeah, that sounds like something you're interested in, then please keep on watching. And don't forget, if you've got any other tips and tricks videos you'd like to see, let me know down below and I'll try and make sure I get onto those. Okay, I've zoomed in a little closer. I've got nothing on my lips currently, possibly a little bit of foundation where I'm just applying my base a minute ago. But the first thing I'm going to do is exfoliate the lips. So you want to make sure there is no dead skin on those lips, especially in this time of year where they get really cold. They can get quite chapped and everything like that. So just a lip scrub. This is an e.l.f. lip scrub, cookies and creams, but you can make your own homemade lip scrub, which I might actually do once this one's run out. So yeah, go ahead and give those a good scrub. This is a nice one because it's not too harsh, but it does the job. So not only is that going to scrub and get all the dead skin off so you've got smoother lips, but it's also going to pump the blood around, so it'll kind of give it more of a plumping effect as well, and give you slightly fuller lips. So scrub that a bit more with my fingernail and then I'll take it off. It'll also help me get off any excess foundation I've got on my lips. And this one actually, I'm not actually supposed to eat it, but it tastes quite nice. But if you did make your own, like with sugar and stuff, you could just lick it away. But I'm going to go and grab a cloth and just rub it off. Okay, now we've done that, I'd recommend putting some lip balm. Now, had I done this as part of a whole makeup look, I'd actually done the scrub and applied this whilst I did my makeup, so it had a bit of time to sit on there, but I didn't do that because obviously I wanted to show this video. But I would recommend scrubbing before you start your makeup and also applying a lip balm before you start makeup, so it's got time to sit on the lips, hydrate the lips, and it'll just help with that application. I'm actually going to use, this technically is a lip gloss, but it's a really hydrating lip gloss. And my lips feel so soft afterwards, but obviously a lip balm would be better so you don't waste the product. But this is a really balmy texture which kind of works the same, but it's got a bit of colour. So like I said, if I was doing my whole makeup, then I would actually let that sit on my face whilst I did everything else, just to give it maximum hydration. You could also go in with a lip mask the night before if you wanted to, just to help with added hydration. I'm going to let it sit there for a couple of minutes and I'll take it off and move on. But like I said, had I been doing the whole makeup look in one go, I would definitely put this on before I started any of the rest of the makeup, just so it had a bit of time to kind of sit there and hydrate and moisturise the lips. Okay, I've taken it off now and I've really patted the lips dry, so you want to make sure there's no excess of that lip balm, no excess of the exfoliator on the lips. Just make sure it's nice and dry, but they feel nice and hydrated. There's no dead skin on there, and they got a bit of a plump effect because we've got that blood going in the lips with the scrub. So now we're good to go. Now of course you could wear a liquid matte lipstick, or I've got the Kiko unlimited double touch lipsticks which last all day. But if you were someone who just had a regular lipstick, this is kind of the avenue I would go down to help. So always go with a lip liner, preferably one that kind of matches to a degree, if not a very similar shade. I'm going in with a purple lip, like I said. This is a Barry M lip liner which I've had for years and years. It's going strong, number 11. I don't know if they still do this one, but it's the only purple lip liner I have which kind of matches the lipstick I'm going to go for. You want to make sure it's as sharp as possibly can be. I can't get it much sharper than that, or it starts to break on me. But sharp enough just to give you a good lip line. But we have got another tip to kind of neaten up afterwards if needs be. So I need a mirror of some description. Now with this, we're not just going to lip line, we're also going to fill them in. Adding just extra layers and thin layers really help make the lip last just that bit longer. So I always start on the bottom. Now in terms of the shape, it's kind of whatever your personal preference is, how you like your lips to look. I do tend to go slightly below my lip, not heavily overlying, but kind of just below where the colour stops, just to give a slightly fuller effect. So start here. And like I said, there will be a trick in a minute where we can neaten this all up if it goes slightly wrong, but that's why you want kind of as sharp lip line as you can get it. The top half I don't tend to really overline, maybe a little bit when I get to Cupid's bow, because I think I've got quite a pointed Cupid's bow. I tend to round it slightly at the top. And I will just try and make them even, but again, I've got another trick later on to help. Okay, so I'm going to that. So like I said, lip shape is personal preference. So whatever you like to do, this is kind of how I like to do it. And then I am going to go in and I actually use the side of the pencil and just fill in the lips. It doesn't matter if it's a little patchy, because we are going a lipstick on top. But I guess this kind of acts as like a base coat, if you will, or like a lip primer. And when I was in Bruges, I did a few funner lip colours. I always had a lip line underneath and it did last. It made such difference to the lasting power. Especially when it comes to eating and drinking, because naturally it's going to come off. Especially if you have like something oily to eat or something like that, it's going to degrade the lip product slightly. But if you've got more than one layer, it will start with the top layer and you still have the bottom layers there. And find eventually, after a long time, it almost gives a staining effect on the lips, which I quite like. I filled them in, I'm kind of happy with that. Yes, this is like coat number 1. Lipstick, and lipstick again is your choice. I have gone for a matte one. This is the 100% Pure Cocoa Matte Lipstick, although it has more what I call a satin finish than a pure matte. I would recommend going more satin to matte as opposed to a slightly glossy one, but if you do like a glossy finish, I am going to show that as well, kind of tips and tricks. So I'm going to go with this. Like I said, it's 100% Pure Cocoa Matte Lipstick in Wine Cup. Like a gorgeous purpley shade, slightly different, but I love the combination of these two. So no trick with this one, just apply it as you normally would. Yeah, I love this lip combo, especially for this time of year. It's a really gorgeous kind of wintry bold lip. Also, by going for more matte and satin, you're less likely to get it in your teeth. But another trick you can do, which I'm sure you've seen before, is just suck your thumb and I'll get any excess off in the middle, and that should hopefully reduce or prevent it going on your teeth. But I do have another trick in a minute that I'm going to use, which again I used in Bruges. So if you saw my little get readies with me, you'll just see me do this next part. So now we've got that on, so we've got 2 layers of colour now. So even if I kind of eat and drink, this top lipstick might come off slightly, but I've kind of got the lip line underneath as a barrier to still have that colour peeking through. So what I'm going to do next is actually tidy up a sharper lip line. So I'm just going to take my concealer. This is the closest one, mine's in 0.7, and a little brush, just a little flat brush. This actually happens to be, I believe, a nail art brush, not that I do nail art, although I want to this year, but yeah, just something like that. Now you don't want a lot of concealer, so I'm just going to pop a little bit on the back of my hand. Again, I want the mirror, a little brush, and then I'm just going to go around the edges. Even if I feel like it's not messy, it just helps sharpen it slightly by doing this. So I'm just going to go try not. I only pick up a little bit at a time, and what I'll do is I'll wipe off the brush on the back of my hand between uses so I don't accidentally drag the purple and smudge it into the rest of my face. So whatever colour you're using, yeah, just be careful. And to be honest, I do tend to focus more on the outer portions. I find the below bit I'm happy with, but it's more like the neating up of where it joins the lips is where I prefer to do. So yes, I rough each time, pick up a little bit more. Yeah, I purposely rub off just to prevent any like smudging, but also I purposely pick up a little bit at a time so there's not an obvious concealer line, because I have done it before I've picked up too much and there's a very obvious concealer line, and sometimes it's hard to kind of get rid of that. So just a little bit at a time. Or even actually my Lily Little Eye Primer worked quite nicely with this as well because it's nice thin consistency. Yeah, like I said, the bottom bit always tends to it looks quite nice. But yeah, that's just sharpened it up ever so slightly, made it a slightly neater line. I just need a bit more concealer, and then I'll do the top, and then we'll go on to the next bit. I'm just going to go ahead and neatening up slightly on the top. So I'm happy with that. Everything looks just a little bit sharper, a little bit neater. So now, like I said, I did this in Bruges and it really helped as well as doing the lip liner. So I'm now taking powder. Now obviously this is going to mattify the lips somewhat. But like I said, I've got another trick or kind of tip for if you want to add a bit of gloss back to the lips or a bit of a shine. So I'm going to take my powder, and I would recommend using your fingers for this because you want to swap each time because you don't want your lipstick to contaminate your powder, especially not a bold one. So I've got my powder. This is Madeira Air Equal Soft Silk Powder, which is, I really have hit pans. This hasn't lasted me too long. So I'm going to take some of my finger. You could use loose powder, but I actually prefer a pressed powder because it's less messy. And I'm just going to start gently patting into the lips. So it's going to reduce the shine, but what it's also going to do is help set it. So now I'm going to go back in, but I'm going to use a different finger because I don't want to dip that one back in at all. And go across again. And you're going to try and keep your lips separate because obviously I haven't set the top one yet, and if I keep accidentally pushing them together too much, the gloss is going to come back down here. So actually what I'm going to do on a fresh finger, I'll go over the top bit. So that's that. So you could, if you like prefer your more slightly matte finishes, you could leave it there. The colour still looks really good, but you can see it's definitely given a slightly more matte finish. Not like super matte, but it's just going to help last. You've got that lip liner all over the lips as one barrier, then your lipstick, and then you've got the bit of added powder to help prolong it a bit longer. Now if you do prefer your glossier lips or your satin lips, you can add the kind of shine back in. Almost like you do your base when you set your face, and then sometimes you go in a fixing mist just to kind of rehydrate it again, but you know it's going to last because you've set everything. I think it's kind of a similar process. What I would say is do not go in with like a lip oil because that will start to break up your lips because oils just break up lips anyway. I would go in with either a lip gloss or take a bit of lip balm. I'm going with a lip gloss. This is actually Lily Lolo's Whisper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dab it on, and then use my fingers to distribute. I don't want to go in straight on the brush and do this because you'll start moving things across. So just get a bit and dab it on, and then See, and we're getting some of that gloss back. And you can keep going. If you want just a softer finish, go with that. You can add a bit more. Actually, if I wanted to increase the shine, I probably would have gone in with the Kiko 3D lip gloss with the glitter. But I don't want to go heavy with the gloss for me personally, but like I said, you can level up. I would just like a dab on and then use your finger to dab it in so you're not disrupting anything underneath too much. And then we're left with something like this. So like I said, it's just my few little tips and tricks of how to perfect a bold lip, but also how to help it last just a little bit longer throughout the day. So yeah, lip liner. Well, first of all, always exfoliate and add some kind of lip balm or lip mask to your lips just to get rid of dead skin, help hydrate the lips, get the blood flowing so kind of a bit plumper, just so nice and prepped. Lip line, make sure you sharpen your lip liner as much as you can to get a nice sharper lip line, but then also go in and fill everything so you've kind of got your colour number one, your base number one down. Then your lipstick of choice. Like I said, I would go more matte to satin and then add the gloss in afterwards if it was me, but entirely up to you. Then go ahead and, because especially as the next step is going to be setting it, so you kind of do want to go more matte satin than a glossy lipstick. But you can go ahead and set it. It's just a bit like you do your face. You're setting it all in, you're locking in the lipstick, you're locking in the colour. Obviously if you want to go with concealer, neaten up, make it sharper. And then if you do prefer your gloss, just add it afterwards, but dab it on, dab it in with your finger, just to prevent any movement underneath, but it will still help make everything last long because you set it with the powder first. So very similar, I think, to how you do face, where you set your face and then sometimes you go in a spray or a mist just to kind of rehydrate your skin so it doesn't look matte and flat, but you know it's going to last because you've done that setting element of it. So a similar concept, I think. So that is this video, quite a short video, I think, but I just fancied doing a bold lip and I thought, well, let's turn it into a bit more of an interesting video. So like I said, if you want to see more tips and tricks type videos, kind of leave your suggestions below of what you want to see. I'm up for doing something like this a bit more often. And like I said, you can do this with a neutral lip as well. If you do prefer your more neutral lips or your softer pinks, your softer reds, still a similar concept. I just thought I'd really show with a bold lip for today and I really fancied wearing a bold lip. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and it was helpful. Please leave any future requests for videos down below. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all in my next video.